Spreads and over-unders. This is One Fat Boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for January 30th of 2022. Tonight there is 8 games. I'll be going over the spreads and over-unders. I got my spreads from FanDuel, and then the over-unders are just my thoughts on the games overall. For the Clippers at the Hornets, I'll be going with the Clippers +5. So the Clippers, they do tend to stick around in games, like even when they get down big, especially the past few weeks. They wheel themselves back in the game and keep it close. And the Hornets, as of late, they'll build some big leads. Then just towards the end, it just starts to close up in that fourth quarter, where it becomes a close game. So just using that logic overall, just be smart to bet whoever was the underdog in the case, and in this case was the Clippers. So have to lean with the Clippers +5. Also for the over, I'll be going over 221.5, as the Clippers can light it up. Well, more so the Hornets, but the Clippers can keep up with the Hornets, that's for sure. As just for this game, I'd say if you're going to build a parlay, just get a selection of 5 or 6 players and just have them hit 1 or 2 threes, as there should be a lot of threes made during this game, but it should be a close game. Clippers +5, over 221.5. For the Lakers at the Hawks, so I'll be going with Atlanta +4. Which I'm actually surprised that Atlanta is the underdog in this case, as the Lakers are very sporadic. Even if James or Anthony Davis is back next game, that just means Westbrook is going to play worse because they're just on the floor. And Atlanta is one of the hottest teams right now, so I believe they won 6 in a row. So I honestly kind of see that continuing, as the Lakers are very random in how they play. They've just been playing that 500 ball all season. So I guess technically they are due for a win, but I think overall Atlanta will come out with the win. I will be going over 222.5, as Lakers don't play defense, and Atlanta should take advantage of that. And then the Lakers, especially if LeBron plays, he's going to keep them in the game, keep them up with the scoring. And then say if LeBron is out, Westbrook has been wheeling teams to close games just on the back of his shoulders, and he can still do it, as we saw against the Hornets. Even though they lost, he did keep it close at the end, but I do expect a high-scoring game from these two. For Portland at the Bulls, I'll be going with Portland +6.5, as the Bulls, they've not been playing too hot as of late. Very random they've been playing, but that's probably due to Ball and Caruso being out, so their wing defense is going to be weaker, which is good for Portland, as a lot of their offense does come from three-point shooting, just more from their guard play. So this is good for Portland, hence why I'm taking the spread +6.5 for them. Even though Portland is the worst team, I do expect them to keep it close just due to the fact, because unless the Bulls change something from last game, I do expect the trend to continue where the Bulls defense is going to give up a lot of points. So if you think the Bulls are going to flip the switch and play some good defense against Portland, then bet the under and bet the Bulls to win. Because personally, for the spread, I think 6.5 is still a little close, so I'd probably just bump that up to Portland plus 9.5. But I think overall Portland will keep it close and will be a high-scoring game. Lots of threes will be made, so bet on that. So over 228.5. And then expect DeRozan to have a good game, because he's just where the offense goes through for the Bulls. So at least 25 for him. For Cleveland at Detroit, we'll be going with Cleveland -7.5, and then under 214.5, because I expect Cleveland to really just dominate Detroit, as Detroit they struggled against the Magic, and they're going to be playing against a better team in the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I will expect Detroit to struggle to score the ball and just have a hard time trying to defend Cleveland, as Cleveland just plays some team ball, and that's really hard to stop, especially when you're a young team, because you have to play a team defense. It's not going to be one-on-one hero ball. Cleveland's going to wear you down, and that's what I expect. This game should not be close. Cleveland 7.5, that's kind of generous towards Detroit, as Cleveland, they should win this game in double digits. But yeah, under 214, because I really don't expect Detroit to get over 95 points. They will have a hard time trying to score the ball. For Denver at Milwaukee, we'll be going with Denver plus 6.5. This is mostly due to the fact that even if Giannis has a good game, somehow the Milwaukee Bucks, it's still like a somewhat close game. And if role players don't step up for the Bucks, it's like you can just see them losing the game. So I can't really bet on Milwaukee to win. It's hence why I really don't bet on spreads for Milwaukee at all, because you just never know which team is going to show up. Because if they play how they played during the playoffs, and yeah, this would probably be like a 15-point spread, like easily for the Bucks. But just how they've been playing this season, you just don't know. So personally, I wouldn't touch the spread, but if I were to bet it, I'd lean towards Denver with the underdog, the plus 6.5. I will say over 212.5, as Jokic and Giannis will probably wheel their team to just score points, as this is going to be the battle of two potential MVPs of the league. They are former MVPs, but I won't be surprised if either one of these add one more this year. But expect good games from those two, like at least 25, and then 8 and 8 from both. Maybe not 8 assists from Giannis, maybe like 6, but still like 25, 8 and 8. Like those are solid stat lines from them. For the Mavericks at Orlando, we're going with Dallas minus 5.5. Even though they played last night, Dallas is a better team. They have solid defense, and that should slow down the Magic, but the Magic have been playing better. Well, they at least played better against Detroit, but that's not saying too much. But their offense has been consistently like decent. Like as long as they make their threes, it keeps them in the game. And Dallas played last night, so their movement might be a little slow. So as long as the Magic just like get those extra rebounds and just hits like a few more threes than they usually do, I'll keep them in the game and get the over 12.5. But I think the Mavericks with Luka, like he's just going to take advantage of the Magic. Like who's on the Magic that's going to slow him down a lot? There's a lot of young players, but I think there's just experience that they don't have that Luka just has in his bag of tricks that will just dismantle the Magic. So expect a good game from him. And then also for Reggie Bullock, as Hardaway Jr. isn't playing, so expect like those extra shots to go to him. So like 2 or 3 threes from him, maybe like 12 to 14 points, like over that. And that's a decent bet. But I will just say I just lean toward like a Dallas win, maybe not the 5.5, but just a Dallas win overall. For Utah at Minnesota, we're going with Minnesota -1. So the Jazz have been struggling, but Minnesota, they're a young team, but if they get hot, like they can put up a lot of points. And like between Towns and Edwards, that's a lot of scoring potential right there. And the Jazz, without Mitchell or Gobert, I didn't check to see if they're going to be back this game, but even if they are, I think Minnesota still will come out with a win. I'd lean towards that because they've just been keeping their games close. Like they kept up scoring with the Suns, which is actually impressive. So, and the Suns beat the Jazz with a slight problem, but they still beat them 2 times in a row. So I think Minnesota will at least keep it really close or come out with a win. But I will expect a lot of points from both these teams, as Utah can score a lot of points in a hurry, but I think Minnesota will be more successful in scoring a lot of points. For the Spurs at the Suns, so the Suns should still win this game, but it's just 12.5 points. That's a little bit too much for me to bet on the Suns. So I will be taking the Spurs plus 12.5. Like I expect the Suns to win. The Suns can clamp down on the Spurs, really, work the young guys on the Spurs and just get the shots they want. When it comes to the fourth quarter, it's close. The Suns will just slow the game down, just dismantle the Spurs, just wear them down. It shouldn't be a problem for the Suns, but they are the hottest team in the league right now, the Suns. And this could be one of those trap games that they just play down to their opponent, but they haven't been doing that this season. And they should still win. I will expect over 219.5, as the Spurs defense really shouldn't slow down the Suns. Like the Suns should be scoring at least like 118. Like at least 114. They should end up around like between like 118, 122, somewhere in there. And then the Spurs, they can also score a lot too, keep up with the Suns. It'll probably be close for the first 3 quarters and then just blown out of the water in the fourth quarter, as that's just how the Suns been playing. So Spurs will probably end up like around 105 points, so over 219.5. Thank you for watching. Leave any of your comments on the predictions, over-unders, or any player props that you might have in mind. Once again, thanks for watching.